Yeah, that's how. So I met him, just got out of her car and crawled in the car with Grandpa. That's how we met, and we went to a drive-in movie.
Do you know what movie it was?
Peppy. That's 50 years ago. So actually, it was 51. It will be in August.
So what date was that?
August 26, 1961. And we got married August 4th, 1962. Roses are red, my love. Violets are blue. Sugar is sweet, my love, but not as sweet as you.
It's been 50 years since my grandparents, Ben and Sharon Moes, tied the knot at St. Boniface's Church in small-town Hastings, Minnesota. For a 20-year-old girl, 50 years is a lot to fathom, an eternity of days that I can't quite wrap my head around. Just imagine all of the smiles, hugs, kisses goodnight, the arguments and the reconciliations, the laughs and eye rolls, the tiniest moments lost to 50 years of memory. I hardly can.
Well, my favorite thing about Grandma is that we've been happy together for almost 50 years now, and she does everything that I like her to do, and we
like
get
what?
along. Oh, well, she feeds me good. And she takes care of me when I'm sick and things like that. And we do things together. We travel a lot together, and we're just happy together.
It was a blind date, and my best friend at the time, she was going with this fella, and it happened to be my cousin. And he set up a date with Ben and I. The four of us were going to go to a drive-in movie. So he was supposed to pick us up at my friend's house. I lived across the street from her at the time. And didn't come, he didn't come, he didn't come. And my cousin didn't drive. He always took a taxi to my friend's house. He didn't know how to find the house. So we ended up going to my girlfriend's mother. Actually, we ended up calling them. They called us on the phone. That's what it was. I'm sorry. Called us on the phone, and my cousin's mother had to drive us up to where my cousin lived.
Everything went great after that, and we went, like I say, to a drive-in movie, and we didn't get home till late in the morning. It must have been about 7 o'clock in the morning, and it was parked in her yard, and her neighbors, they got up and they went to church on Sunday morning, and we had to crawl out in the car so they wouldn't see us.
We went to Excelsior Amusement Park in Excelsior, and it was an amusement park, yeah. And anyhow, there was a little booth there where you could make your own well, at that it was a little, almost like a CD. And he was saying a few things on there, and he started to sing "Roses Are Red, My Love." Yeah, and I still got that.
Roses are red, my love. That's gonna sound real good.
Nights, I worked 3 to 11, and he would come I'd have a half-hour lunch, and he'd come and sit in the parking lot and visit with me, and then he'd lay down and sleep in the car until I got done. After I went back to work, he'd lay down and sleep in the car until I got done work at 11 o'clock, and then he'd take me home, and then he lived in New Trier, so then he'd go home, and it was well after midnight, maybe 1 o'clock sometimes by the time he would go home, get home, and then he had to be back to South St. Paul to work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Really liked him. The biggest thing, I think of every time I think of Benny is when he first met Grandma. Every time he'd come to pick her up, he'd always have a cigarette. And Earl and I were very young at that time. We'd run out there quick and grab a cigarette out of his hand, and we'd smoke it down. It was red ash all the way down to the filter. And so he knew when he pulled into the driveway to pick up Grandma that he better have a fresh cigarette in his hand. And we'd just suck that cigarette right down. And then, yeah, so that's what I think about right away.
So when did you guys decide to actually get married?
He proposed in December, and we decided, we kind of set the date, I would say it was maybe in April, right around my birthday.
In an effort to understand, I forced my grandma and grandpa on a path down memory lane. Together, I thought, we could visit the places that were significant to them and recognize how special and dynamic that day was 50 years ago when they decided to get married, the lifetime of happiness that it would bring them. Just south of Hastings, at Bowers Farm, time stands still. Here lay the forgotten memory keepers of yesterday. An old saloon that welcomed visitors from outside of town, a drive-in restaurant famous throughout the Twin Cities for its burgers and charm. Even the iconic town bridge, torn down in 1951, has a scaled replica here. One weekend each summer, the farm is the host of the Little Log House Pioneer Days, when reenactors bring history to life. But today, it is just us, ready to wander and remember.
I was nervous and scared a little bit, yeah, or a lot. Hoping that everything would go okay, and it seems like it did. And had a lot of Sharon's relations in the wedding and everything, or in for the church services, like
Yeah.
the two ushers were, or
Yeah.
the two.
My two brothers.
Yeah, but I meant the two
Servers.
altar boys. Yeah.
One was my cousin and one was your
cousin, right?
Yeah, yeah. The people in our wedding, we, like I say, my two brothers, and then Ben's sister
Sister and brother.
and brother, and then your niece and your nephew.
Nephew.
Yep. We just had a small wedding. Bridesmaid, maid of honor, best man, and one bridesmaid and one groomsman. And Glenn and Earl
We're
were
ushers.
ushers. No, Glenn and Earl and Earl and Ted were ushers, and Glenn walked Dorothy down the aisle. Was a groomsman. Glenn was. Yep. Yes. Long time ago. You can't remember 50 years back,
so.
can you?
Yeah.
I'll have to look at the pictures to verify it.
Roses are red, my love. Violets are blue. Sugar is sweet, my love, but not as sweet as you.
We ended up running into the owner, who was happy to let us inside the church to look around. The church is built 2/3 to scale, and the original steeple stands at the side to show this. All of the bricks are from the original building, and inside, a display shows the remnants of the moving process, back in 1996, when I was still in preschool. Each window, pew, and light fixture come from the original church, though the only remnants of the original white altar remain in a side chapel. The 3 altars now in place come from St. Joseph's Church from Jordan, Minnesota, and the church is still used today for wedding services.
Okay, originally, this part was a crying room, and people with small children would come in here. There was pews and an aisle here. This was I don't remember if it was glass or not. I'm thinking it might have been, But then when it came time for communion, and the priest would come through here and he'd give communion to all the parents. But yeah, this was what was called the prime room. 4 of our kids were baptized with their heads, water in the office. All 4 of our kids were baptized using that font.
Them days they did put the whole
Body
in water.
It's interesting to note that on this same August 4th, 1961, Marilyn Monroe, the famous movie star, reportedly took her own life. Ben always said that she must have heard that he got married and was utterly distraught at the thought of him with another woman. But who wouldn't be? Sharon looked like a dream in her wedding dress. However, that didn't stop the heat of the day from getting to her.